Hey, what's good, y'all? Rasati out here in Singapore. Um, Thursday morning, and I have tons to do. We're getting ready to get into wedding season here for my family. I know we got a wedding this weekend, we got a ponurko on Monday, and then the real work begins. I need to make sure that, my pombratoli vela is actually like very well taken care of. So pombratoli in Tamil means um, maid of honor. In this case, I would be matron of honor, but that's cool too. Anyway, so lots of, behind the scenes stuff, trying to keep myself straight as far as my business while I take care of all this other stuff at home, because that also means that we got to jig up the place, we got to decorate stuff, we got to make sure that we're all, dressed to the nines, which we really don't do that often. We're not a very flashy bunch, especially me and my mom. So we got some stuff to take care of. We got some business to handle in the house as well as me on the business front. So, with all that being said, I've been thinking about it, right? So, I pride myself on being different from everybody else. Not like different, weird, like to be standing out. No, it's like I want to do the things that most people aren't willing to do because I want to make a difference. And I want to make a difference in this lifetime, not posthumously. Does that make sense? I have always tried to go above and beyond. When I was in hospitality, I made sure that the, small meaningful gestures that we did for our guests so that they would write us good reviews. Yeah, that was the gimmick back then. How do we get them to write reviews? How do we get them to, recommend us or say something memorable about the hotel, about the staff itself? Because the rest of it is just a very, very old building, right? Grand Hyatt Singapore is one of the oldest hotels here in Singapore. And so what makes us stand out has to be the staff, not the building itself. Because obviously you got, up and coming boutique hotels everywhere, and every year there's more technology, there's more efficient ways to do things, there's like cooler gadgets that you need to get out there. And Grand Hyatt is trying to be traditional and make sure that the service really stands out. So back then it was all about the small meaningful gesture, the SMG, and we used to brainstorm about it in our daily meetings, the handover meetings, to see, okay, who are the TLC guests that are in the building today? Who do we really need to watch out for because they tend to complain really easily? How can we make them feel like they're really loved so they can stand out? Now, what I used to do was make sure that I didn't go after the ones that always get attention, but the ones who didn't get attention ever because they were so quiet and they didn't complain. I just wanted to make sure that I met all of them, because it's easier to get a first review out of somebody who's never reviewed the place than it is to get a good review from someone who always reviews or leaves bad comments or complains to your manager every time something bad happens. So I was doing something that not everybody else did. I separated myself from the rest. I also did things like make things from scratch. I mean, it was something we grew up with, right? We used to make cards all the time, and I enjoyed it because it meant that I put in a little bit of my life. I invested some of my life, which is my time, and that means I'm putting my heart and soul into it. I'm not just going to do some shoddy job of a card and just like hand it over. I'm going to take some time. I'm going to put some art, creativity into it. I'm going to think for a while because I need to make something that you would relate to. I want to give you a gift that you will remember me by. And that doesn't mean that I just throw money at you. I'm not going to give you flowers. You're not going to remember me. I'm not going to give you extra towels or, free massage. You're not going to remember that. But something that you would probably keep even when you come back home. Most of us don't keep receipts. Like a card, like a letter, like a drawing. If there are kids involved, I love doing quotes and tracing pictures from Disney movies. I mean, people remember that stuff, right? And then every year there's a specific movie that kind of takes over the theme for the year, and it's easy to do it that way. So I've done things like that before. I separate myself from the rest of the flock, mostly because I want you to remember that somebody cared. It doesn't have to be my face that comes to mind, obviously, but it just needs to be like, yo, somebody noticed you. Somebody took the time to get to know you, to really know who you are, and put in effort so that, you smiled that day. That was hospitality, obviously. When it came to marketing, I ran a campaign for a newly uh, a newly opened international school. Now in Singapore, if you don't know, there's nothing but school stuff, right? There's tuition everywhere. There's a school every couple blocks. International schools are not a new thing, even though they are privatized and for profit mostly. Um, there's no shortage of education options here in Singapore. Okay, so there are many schools that are based on specific curriculums from specific countries. There's like an Australian school, there's a British international school, there's an American international school, there's a French international school. You name it, we got it, right? And those curriculums are specific to the country. And then you have, oh gosh, I can't even remember the letters now, but there were specific academic tracks. So if you were in India and you went to a specific school, you need to find that same track so you can easily be admitted. Otherwise, you have to take a test and see where you fall, like aptitude test or whatever. So there are those kinds of tracks of schools as well. And then my marketing strategy was, how do I set a school apart from all the other schools, the thousands, here in Singapore? And I decided to go the grassroots route, which there was a clash of ideas at the top. So I politely resigned after a while, but I did the best I could. And we did. We were hitting the front page of Google with the search results, because if you searched any school and curriculum, we'd be your first option every time. Because what we were doing was, and I wasn't lying, I wasn't making up shit, we were taking the best of everyone's curriculums and we were making sure that it was included in our school, because we were parents first before we were school administrators. And that was the whole angle. All your teachers, they're experienced, they know what they're doing because they've taught that same level of child for several years. So when they see, developmental milestones like kids who can't sit still, they want to climb the walls, they want to jump off of high places, they're testing their limits, they know that's normal for that age group and they know how to handle it, which means we are a really great doula for parenting while your kid is in school, which means we take over as your kid's parent while they're in school, and then we hand them back over to you, and we had the same values as you. That was my whole angle. That was the way I was going to run the school. Obviously, like I said, there was some trouble at the top, and I was like, you know what? I don't line up with your values, and I can't put my name to this anymore, so I'm going to walk away. But the other thing I also did was a lot of community marketing. I went out into the community and I promoted all of the businesses that help us get off the ground, including, the people who gave us a small Wi-Fi solution when we were just a shell of a building trying to set up in the first place, and we didn't have the Wi-Fi, like the fiber network set up yet. So I mean, all of those little things, the people who provided all of our plants in the school itself to make it a little more green and to combat the AC and that stuffy inside feel. We had a lot of greenery to clear the air for us. Like all of those little things, I made sure that we reached out into the community and we were a community-based school rather than just another foreign company come into Singapore and started up a school because if we can make it in Singapore, we can make it anywhere, which is actually what we were, right? Kindle Kids is actually part of Vail's Institute, but that's not how they set it up. Anyway, the point is I've always made sure I separated myself from everybody else. Not to be snotty, not to be, in your face, I could do it better, but it was because I saw how it was being done everywhere else. And I saw what the norm was, and it didn't fit who I was. It didn't fit how I wanted to raise my kid. Like, case in point, here in Singapore, everybody has a maid. And I get it, y'all need help because both parents are working, and by the time you get home, there's not enough time to subtly cook a meal and make sure that your kid has got all their homework done and spend some time with them before they fall asleep. I get it. It's that hectic. But I didn't want to run my life like that because I only have a handful of years where she wants to be around me and she looks up to me and she wants me to play with her before she's too busy with her friends and want to, hang out with boyfriends and whatnot. So I want to take advantage of that time because once it's gone, I will never get it back. You guys, time is a non-renewable resource, okay? I will not get that piece of my life back and neither will she. And unfortunately, at that point, looking back, she will have a specific memory attached to those childhood years and I did not want that for her. So I chose not to have a maid. I chose to run from pillar to post to get everything done myself. I choose to cook food every chance I get. Now, part of that I forced on myself because I made sure that I didn't have so much money where I could waste it and go out to eat, as in like spend 30, 40 bucks on feeding myself one time where that 30, 40 bucks could feed me for a week and a half if I played my cards right. You see what I'm saying? This is how people become rich and then stay rich. They don't spend money on nonsense if they can help it. Right? They reduced all their spending. They reduced all of the things that they really they throw money at if it's not necessary. Because to be honest, there's not much that's necessary. Yeah, you need water, you need power. Yeah, you need Wi-Fi in this day and age. But outside of that, most everything else is free. And I feel like I learned that the hard way, but it was a great, great lesson for me, especially on this entrepreneurship journey, because once I start making money, I'm going to keep the majority of my money. I'm not going to go spend it because I suddenly have the money. You hear me? But I was listening to E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher today, and he was talking about, what do you do that separates yourself from the rest? And I know this. I know I've done a lot that separates myself. I know I do a lot more than the average person in Singapore as far as business is concerned. But guess what? Now that I've set myself apart, I also got complacent a little bit. Where I should be pushing myself to be even more separated, I'm not. I'm getting complacent. I know it. I can feel it because I know how much work I can cram into a day. I know how much I can get done. I could do meetings all day long if I really, really wanted to. And part of me is like, no, I don't want to. Part of me is no, but Netflix, and no, but I want to eat cookies and chill with my girl, and no, but my mom is, lonely and I want to spend time with her. So yeah, that fight is real. That is all mental. That's mental game right there. And I don't know that much about chess, but I know that in order to be a chess champion, you need to be 15 moves ahead. I haven't got to that space yet. Once I get to that space, it's going to be like, quantum physics in my life, for real. But for now, I recognize that I have stalled. I recognize that I have plateaued, and it's time for me to step my game up again. So now it's all about, okay, how often do I go live? How often do I teach in classes? Once I teach the class, where am I putting it? Where is it available for people? And if they still need their handheld, how can they get in touch with me? Because guess what? My website has been up for like 2.5 years now, but there's still no checkout page on there. That's me stalling. That's me not closing up my projects. If I was at work, I would have no choice because I'm answering to somebody else. But guess what? When you answer to yourself, that discipline is even more crucial. And I always find something else that's more important to be doing instead. I stay busy. I'm not going to say I'm not busy. I stay busy. Cooking takes all day, if I let it, because I usually watch Netflix while I'm cooking, which is not a bad thing. I used to sing all the time, but you know what? I need to get back into the game. I need to get back doing things that no one else is doing because life is that precious. I was listening to an interview that Eva Longoria gave, and she said, you know what? Everything's about multitasking now. And even though you and I know that meditation is the antithesis of multitasking because you need to focus, you need to slow down, I know what she means. I know that if I can use machines to help me do things while I'm doing other things, it means I've multiplied my time. I've cloned myself. Whereas back in the day, I would be washing by hand, right? I don't have to do that shit no more. I have to just separate the clothes, put them in the laundry, and I let it go. And once it's done, it sings to me and says, hey, come get me out the laundry, hang me out to dry. It's easy. I could do it. And while I'm doing that, I'm usually cooking. If I can put, something in the slow cooker and something on the stove at the same time, that's two things being done at the same time. And that's awesome. I love that. I feel good about that. But guess what? When I'm tired and I don't want to do nothing. And now that I've acknowledged that, I need to make sure that I plan my days so much so that I get it all done somehow, some way. Right now, I'm sitting on a full course load of mini classes that I can definitely put out there and start making money. And I'm stalled because why? I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. I don't know what to set the bar at. But I also know that if I don't throw some spaghetti up on the wall and see if it sticks, I'm never going to get started. Because guess what? That's how the podcast got started. And look at me now. 7 episodes? 587 episodes. I got to get it started. I got to get moving. And I get on here on this podcast every day. Nowadays, it's like 2 a day because I'm really trying hard to hit that 650 mark by December 31st. I do it all the time because I can. It's 20 minutes out of my day, which also means 20 minutes I could be working out too. And I do. I'm getting on it. I'm on day 2 of my 100 days of fitness again because, yeah, I can start again. I can restart. Every time I fall, I can get back up. I got to keep it separated, y'all, because I won't be number one for long. There's always going to be someone younger, someone faster, someone smarter, someone more intuitive than I am that's going to be coming up behind me. And it's not that I'm trying to become popular and trying to fight to stay popular. It's not like that. While I have your attention, I need to make sure that what I'm telling you is useful, that what I'm doing is fruitful, that every piece of energy I throw out into the world helps someone somewhere, heals someone somewhere. So if you got to listen to this monotonous voice of mine in order to get your ass in the gear and then go after your dream and stop letting people tell you what to do or how you to live your life, then that's what it takes. All of this stuff is for free. It's for you and it's for me. Because guess what? I go back and I look at, the episodes that I've put out there and I look at, wow, okay, you know what? That's true again today, even though I did it like a year ago. I need to make sure that while I'm here, I didn't keep my head down and just move through, going through the motions. I did that for about 30 years. Done doing that. If I see something wrong, I'm going to say something about it. I'm done playing nice. I'm done pretending like this doesn't matter. It matters. It matters so much. I saw this post from pink.sg, and they're all about LGBTQ rights. And in Singapore, there are enough people on both sides of the fence. While some people in the government are really trying to fight hard to get this sorted out so that everyone has an equal vote, equal say, equal rights, there are still people who grew up in this country that are afraid of change, that don't want anything to change because they feel like they're going to lose if things change. And they'll fight you even if the government says it's okay. We can still exist. We can promote this. So how do we change that stuff? We can't do what has always been done. We got to do something different. If TEDx has speakers that cancel because TEDx is actually limiting what we're allowed to talk about, then it's about TEDx. We need to fight TEDx. If it's not TEDx, we need to fight the government. Whoever it is that's telling us we can't say what we need to say, we need to work around that stuff. If social media gives us a platform, talk about it. Let's do something. Let's go there. Because when we don't, so many more people suffer because they're still confused, they're still scared, they're still terrified of being who they are. They're ashamed to be who they are. They're guilty of feeling the way they do. And I don't want that for my country. I don't want that for the world. I was terrified to bring my daughter into this world because I know the kind of violence we were living in. And thank God I got out of Hampton and Newport News and I'm back here in Singapore. But racism still exists. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It's not condoned, but it exists. Fear of different exists. It's Asia. Come on now. When have we ever let different exist okay? When have we not fought being different? I'm not gonna lie, I fought being different. When I first saw Tia Buva's sari draping stuff, I was like, nah, that's not how you wear a sari. You can't do that. And then I fell in love. Because it is beautiful and it's different. It gives me more ways to wear a sari. I didn't know about wearing contrast blouses. It was something I kind of like figured out along the way because I just didn't have the blouse that matched. So I picked out a small color in the sari that was almost insignificant and made it significant by wearing a blouse that matched, because then I didn't have to color match exactly. It was close enough and that was good. We will find a way. We gotta stay young by evolving. We gotta stay relevant by evolving. Adapt, adjust, accommodate. We got to. Or we lose our right to say anything. I talk about this all the time in relationship therapy, right? If you don't speak up and tell somebody, hey, this is not okay. I don't like this. Don't do this way. It hurts me. If you don't tell them that, the more time that goes by, the more they're going to fight you and be like, oh, but it was okay all this time. Why is it different now? What changed? Why did you change all of a sudden? So please, do what you got to do to be yourself. And I'm going to do what I got to do. And don't let these plateaus stop you. They will happen. It is normal. But just because it's normal doesn't mean you stay there either. I want to make a difference. I owe it to my kid to leave this world better than when I found it. I was watching the movie Now and Then, and it was so cool to be able to see these 4 girls on bikes riding from one town to the next. No supervision, no cell phones to check in with anybody, and they could ask strangers along the way how they were, what was going on, directions if they needed it, and they were not afraid that someone was going to rape them, kill them, stuff them in a trunk somewhere. Like, none of that. They were raised to trust first. And then if you get a weird gut feeling, you go with your gut feeling. But we don't live in that kind of society right now. I mean, saying good morning in a damn elevator, or lift in Singapore, shocks people still. That's the kind of life we live now. So like I said, I got to keep it separated. I can't be like everybody else. Yeah, being with Vasantham stars and interacting with them on a daily basis, cool. Yeah, I feel really, really hella cool. Like, oh my gosh, I've arrived. But I haven't. Because now the next thing is to stand apart from them. As in to do the work, to deliver seamlessly, to act, to really fall into the character, to deliver the lines, to really help the audience feel what I feel or what the director wants me to feel. And then I got to keep it separated. I can't be running around with them. I can't be getting drunk with them all the time. First of all, because I'm a mom. Second of all, because I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to stand out. I want to be different. Because I've got something to share. I've got something to teach. Literally life-changing stuff to teach. I can't sit still for much longer. I gotta keep it going. Because the world is catching up. When I first started this, no one knew what emotional intelligence was. I barely knew what it was. I didn't know I was capable of teaching it until somebody said, hey, you know what? You do this really well. You should teach that. And I was like, shit, okay, cool. But then how do I teach it? And now guess what? Buzzwords everywhere. PAP wants people to volunteer and teach this stuff. And they're looking for certification people. And I'm certified. I'm qualified. I'm experienced. I have all three. Game changer, right? But if I don't put myself out there, if I don't tell the world that I'm here and this is what I'm doing with my life, people will not know that they need to come to me when they want something. People will not know that if they need a speaker for a specific panel, they need to come to me because I am the expert. I have done this for years. And then it's no one's fault but mine because I didn't speak up. I didn't raise my hand. I didn't stand up. I didn't stand out. I didn't tell people I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. I'm here. So imagine what you could be doing that you're allowing yourself to be distracted by. And it's funny because E.T. was talking about, okay, name the things that keep you separate, like that keep you from getting to where you need to be. And a lot of people were talking about, you know what? I need to stop running after girls. I need to stop going out and drinking every night. I need to stop binge watching Netflix through the night instead of sleeping because guess what? Suddenly that time is gone and it's the next day already. And I got to go back to work. They were talking about doing drugs because now you're in an altered state of mind. You can't get the kind of clarity you want to have in order to build the business that you want. You still got to stay in that 9 to 5 then because you're living from paycheck to paycheck. I'm not saying that's a bad way to live. I did that for years, literally. And now I'm not. So, how are you going to separate yourself from everybody else? How are you going to run your own race? As in, put blinders on, focus on your goal, nothing but your goal, and keep going. Because when you take your eyes off the target, that's when you notice all the damn stumbling blocks, all the little distractions, all of the obstacles in your way. Think about it. Kids in a candy store, all they see is the candy. They don't see the price. They damn sure don't see the price. They don't see the long queue in front of the register. They don't see the time as far as, they got to get to their next appointment. They don't see nothing but the prize, the candy. And they will not stop asking you until they get the candy. So then it's up to you to kind of maneuver yourself out of that or indulge, whichever one it is. So if kids got that naturally, imagine what we could do if we never took our eyes off the prize. What is it you want badly in this life? And what are you willing to go do to get it? Because I'll tell you right now, everybody wants heaven on earth. But nobody is willing to die for it. I hope you hear me and I hope you understand I'm telling you all this in love. And this is a reminder for myself just as much as it is for you. I can't stay where I am. I got to keep moving. I got to do more because I can. I'll catch you again soon. Good night.